on the subject of a recent sensational report of U.S. President Barack Obama about so-called special force operation in Pakistan, about where Osama Bin Laden was reported to die at the hands of U.S. Kind of military operators. Well, actually, this recent statement of Democratic President Obama is a very dubious one, as it doesn't have any verifiable source of information. President Obama may actually trying to pass, kind of desirable for real thing. Well, actually, there was not a single mentioning, of any substantiated evidence of photographs, with corpse of Osama Bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda, or any kind of evidences of, or testimonies of special forces soldiers and officers, who would validate, statement of President Obama. Otherwise, it's just hearsay, and President Obama should not appeal to, to the authority of his political office, U.S. presidency, because if he makes hearsay statements, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. Republican President George Bush Jr. Used to claim that Iraq had nuclear weapons, which definitely was a lie. And actually, I want to, just make a parallel between false statement of ex-president George Bush, Republican President George Bush, who actually claimed that that there were nuclear weapons found in Chad or Sudan, and actually claimed it as a pretext for war against Iraq. The same way, U.S. President Obama does not actually present any substantiated evidence of the capture of remains of Osama Bin Laden. According to Pakistani sources, actually, I apologize for ad hoc remarks. On my parent, my always minds, with kind of my political comments, and actually, so that according to statement of Pakistani intelligence, which I picked up at antiwar.com, Osama Bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda insurgency, was actually died a few years ago in Pakistani hospital. But about maybe 10 years ago. But still, I believe President Barack Obama tries to break into the open door. He tries to, push sensation out of his authoritative figure. He doesn't back up his, precarious statement, with any substantiated evidence. It's just hearsay. And I demand that President Obama showed us some evidence of Al-Qaeda leader Osama Bin Laden, who's responsible for 9/11 bombings, is dead, because he does not present no evidence whatsoever. And his statement is unsubstantiated and is not very reliable at all. So President Obama should learn the lesson. Well, he wasn't taught by Gullible Foundation, who kept him, like an expensive whore, or something like that, another prostitute or imperialist. But actually, presidents are just like any other people. And if he goes around, huge crowds of, chauvinists trying to express a jingoist sentiment or a chauvinist sentiment, it doesn't mean that everybody will believe it. And come to speak about presidency, come to think of presidency of former Republican President George W. Bush. Well, actually, who I must mention that he overthrew democracy. He overthrew the rule of democracy because he lost popular vote by 1% to Democratic contestant Al Gore, Democratic candidate Al Gore. Al Gore won popular vote by 1%. It was recognized by Federal Electoral Commission in November 2000. And the second, when Democratic candidate Al Gore ordered recount, mail ballots recount in Palm Beach County, where a black vote prevailed, actually, there was a tragic chain of events. Republican Vice President Dick Cheney, though nefarious, nefarious executive of Halliburton Oil Company, decided to conspire with U.S. Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. It's a very reactionary justice appointed by a conservative president. And he conspired with him to stop manual ballots recount. And the U.S. Supreme Court delivered a blow to American democracy by illegally ordering stopping manual ballots recount when the amount of those manual ballots went down to 150. It was, I've been watching this window of recount ballots at the CNN window in November 2000. It was a tragic series of events. It was criminal conspiracy of Antonin Scalia, U.S. Supreme Court Justice, and a nefarious Republican Vice President, Dick Cheney, very reactionary in order to overthrow democracy. And I believe that George Bush overthrew democracy. So did the Republican gubernatorial candidate, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who decided to stage a coup against the democratic rule of Governor Gray Davis in October 2003. After his successful motion picture thriller Collateral Damage, where he played a vigilante who fought Colombian narco-mobsters. Actually, terrorists. And actually, I believe that Republicans are only capable of overthrow democracy to become unpopular president, which actually George Bush was, and whose corrupt rule, and whose tortures and waterboarding actually manifested the role of political reactionaries and actually right-wing extremists who waterboarded and tortured Iraqi prisoners and Al-Qaeda prisoners as well, Arab nationalists. And I believe that President George Bush actually was responsible for 911 bombings as he refused to call on cell phones of those passengers on those three planes who could organize civil defense on board of those American Airlines planes. It could have stopped terrorists, like what they did on the plane of one of those airlines that was coming from Miami, one of the planes, who actually where passengers managed to outpower terrorists, Al-Qaeda terrorists, Arab nationalists, and narco traffickers. And managed to bring down the plane to a smooth landing right in Virginia. That plane was heading for the White House directly. And I believe that that territorial role of ex-Republican President George W. Bush in our involvement and his actually overthrow of democracy in November 2000 is just another example that Republicans are neo-fascists. This political party was actually was playing a role in stopping a social program, voting against social programs. Republicans opposed all kinds of social programs which have existed in American history. And I believe all those people who vote for Republicans vote for the demise of democracy, vote against social programs, vote against any progressive politics ever. Actually, I demand that Democratic President Barack Obama voted down, vetoed a Republican budget, in which was misconstrued by that new fascist Republican Paul Ryan. And I demand that President Obama declared a firm veto against the Republican budget, which presumes severe cuts to to healthcare and education as well. And in this statement, President Barack Obama actually did not mention a word veto. And I demand he mention the word veto, that he shouldn't make anti-money, shouldn't try to find justification for wealthy people, shouldn't be such a prostitute imperialist like he's trying to pose. And I believe that President Obama will be able to raise taxes on wealthy and I demand that the Democratic faction of U.S. Senate voted down the Republican legislation of neo-fascist kind, which actually cut down on healthcare and education, and try to balance the budget on the backs of working poor. And this is outrageous. That Republicans trying to take money from the Arab sheikhs, from Arab elite of sheikhs of Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. It was reported by MSNBC who has Schultz, actually. And Republicans, they operate for against the interests of the United States. Republicans actually sold out to Arab sheikhs and trying to bring down any American social programs, because they sold out to the same foreign enemy as Al-Qaeda being hired by those Arab sheikhs and Arab monarchs that actually directed and guided Al-Qaeda. And it's not a secret that a good part of, a good half of those Al-Qaeda terrorists led by Mohammed Atta were Saudi Arabian nationals, and they were actually first sent to Germany, which were trained by German nationalists and actually to attack the United States. And I believe that if actually there is a chance that the United States Special Forces caught and liquidated the terrorist, Al-Qaeda terrorist and mastermind Osama Bin Laden, but there is no evidence to have done so far, except that hearsay statement of U.S. President Barack Obama. And I believe Barack Obama should actually come up with substantial evidence. It's my mouth. Yeah, well, actually, Barack Obama should come up with substantial evidence of was remains of terrorist leader, Al-Qaeda terrorist leader Osama Bin Laden. And in the second, it is illegal to assassinate terrorists. Well, I believe assassination is a crime, and assassination prohibited by U.S. Constitution, by federal laws, because it's a murder, assassination and murder. It prohibits United States international courts like Human Rights Health Act and Geneva Convention. And I believe if, of course, federal had an arrest warrant against Osama Bin Laden, we should have found him. CNN simply tried to silence opposition by citing some lone wolves and actually I believe that a number of people simply expressed their jingoist sentiment by wrapping themselves in American flag, actually, brandishing red banners of U.S. Marines, you know. Well, actually, near White House, in the area of White House, near Festival, on Pennsylvania Avenue. Actually, many people were quite happy by that solemn notice of declaration of announcement of U.S. President Barack Obama. This will consider them fried news with the Al-Qaeda terrorist leader of Arab nationalists, Osama Bin Laden, is dead. Actually, I always resent the fact that we're trying to, especially like Fox News, we're trying to present that Al-Qaeda terrorism as Islamic terrorism. There is no such thing as religious terrorism nowadays. There is only towards terrorists or Arab nationalists and narco traffickers, to be honest. And in the second, let's recall that domestic terrorism of giant proportions, which was done by McAvey, right-wing extremists, who was actually had connections to neo-fascist militia groups, but nobody called him a Christian terrorist. Well, he comes from a Christian background, and actually, I believe that recent comment on the recent nomination of Shuffle in the President Obama cabinet, among Obamas, you know, Robert Gates was actually fired by U.S. President Barack Obama. I believe a very timely firing, because especially because Robert Gates was actually mean-spirited and reactionary appointee of Republican President George Bush, and Panetta was quite a decent, probably make quite a decent defense secretary, and actually. But I actually definitely disapprove of appointing a military general, Petraeus, to a post of director of CIA. General Petraeus is a military leader, head of United Chief of Command, you know. He's kind of 5-star general. And trying to make him a chief of spy operations, it's so naive as trying to make him become a chef cook in a New York restaurant. And actually, I believe that it's not one nice nomination. I believe very conservative option of President Obama. It's just it's a sign that President Obama is careening to the right of a political spectrum. And also, if President Obama to follow the mantra of affirmative action and to appoint black Democrats to a senior administration post, instead of trying to actually take it to most excellent tastes of Republicans, nominated the chief of military generals, you know, General Petraeus, who is most likely to be, you know, chief military strategist at best, to the post of chief spy, you know, director of spies, you know, is quite very precarious and I believe reactionary nomination. And I believe that we should nominate mostly CIA spy handlers and the rest to the post of director of CIA. I believe that Central Intelligence should actually start rescue operation of Chinese bloggers who suffered at the hands of Google's executives. Was Google's executives actually gave away the locations, telephones, and addresses of those Chinese bloggers who actually expressed their just dissident opinion about politics and were persecuted illegally and unfairly for expressing their political opinions about events. And I believe that Central Intelligence should actually start a rescue operation of bloggers to free them from jail, from prison, you know, to rescue them from prisons, Chinese prisons, by means of bribery or, you know, by means of petitioning Chinese government. But actually, it must be done like that, because in order to help powerful Chinese dissident friends, you know, to overthrow Chinese communist dictatorship. And I believe that President Obama should actually become more progressive in his nomination, because he's a Democrat. He's supposed to follow Democratic mantra, not Republican mantra. And actually, hopefully, will veto reactionary neo-fascist Republican budget. He's actually prepared by those corrupt neo-fascist Paul Ryan. Well, actually, we'll see later. Hopefully, my viewers will actually will help me, you know, to finance my campaign, political campaign, to get elected as a California State Assembly representative, for which I need the you know, the financial support. Actually, I call my viewers to liberal public, which appreciates my political commentaries, you know, to give me a call on my cellular number 323-445-1600 in order to actually help me raise funds for my political campaign to get me elected to California State Assembly post. And I need money to actually to pay for advertising and actually to implement a wide swath of civil rights and liberal reform. I offer such a great politics such as raising taxes against the wealthy and rich corporations, such oil and gas corporations, such as Shell, Arco, Mobil, and Texaco. And actually, with that money, with increase in revenue, I will actually expedite issuance of Section 8 housing vouchers, which will empower working class people who signed up for Section 8 housing vouchers, and will give a boost to retail sales, will empower consumers greatly. They will actually will become make America very available for foreign investors as well. And I believe by establishing civil rights, by providing amnesty to illegal aliens, amnesty for ex-felons who served their time and lead a law-abiding, legitimate way of life, have legitimate incomes, I will actually provide amnesty for all those people. I prepare amnesty legislation for non-criminal illegal aliens, so they could keep their jobs and actually pay their fines and actually had register for their own safety and for safety of national security of the United States. Because undocumented aliens, which actually may be hired by narco mobsters to produce narcotics, and may actually participate in organized crime limits, and will pose potentially great danger to national security of the United States. And I believe that the federal government and I urge President Obama to sign amnesty for non-criminal illegal aliens, just the same way late President Reagan did provide amnesty for Mexican bracero workers, agricultural workers in the 80s, and actually he got assassinated over providing amnesty to illegal aliens who were killed by neo-fascists. It wasn't killed, but it was severely wounded by neo-fascists, submachine gun wielding right-wing extremists. And I believe that President Obama should actually sign amnesty for non-criminal illegal aliens in order to improve American economy and uphold the cause of human rights. Cause of human rights, uphold immigration, and provide amnesty as a wise politics of racial integration will be appreciated by foreign investors.